Hi there, I'm Nicole Wilbur, I'm a writer and story nerd, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited. I am tier ranking all of the writing resources that I used in 2021. Now this is just my very biased opinion and my experience using them. So I'm gonna share my screen right now and show you my tiers. I think it's recording, I think we're good. We're 4 seconds on the clock. All right, here we are. So, these are the tiers. The bottom tier is, I'm a little upset I used this. Next one, meh, not particularly helpful. Next one, helpful but annoying. It's very niche to me because I am very particular, I guess, about the prose of the writing books that I read, and so I found there's gonna be some that fall in that category. Next is solid resource, woo! And the next is the holy grail of writing resources. In terms of like my criteria, obviously it's like helpfulness and usefulness, kind of enjoyability of the experience of using it, and then cost, because cost is a thing, and yeah. Okay, so let's get started. The first one is Save the Cat Writes a Novel, and I am going to put that in the helpful but annoying category. That category was made for Save the Cat Writes a Novel. It is a very helpful book, but the prose is irritating. Some people might love it. Honestly, I just did not like it. However, I found Save the Cat useful. I like sometimes thinking about their genre, that can be cool. I like the beats, I think, are really good. I think that gives us a great language. So the next one is the Most Dangerous Writing App. So this is an app that I tried in a recent video. You cannot like stop typing or it erases all of your work. And oof, I honestly am like, I kind of want to put it in the holy grail of writing resources because, man, if you want to get more words, this is where to go. Like, I've been trying to get myself to stop, like, judging my writing as I do it, and it is my holy grail. It has been so helpful. Next, we have fiction writing made easy. This, I'm gonna say, is a super solid resource. This is a podcast that I've been listening to. I believe the podcast host is actually a StoryGrid editor. She has some great tips I was listening to one on writing secondary characters today. I was making notes while I was waiting in line at Starbucks, and you know, it was super solid. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So the next one is, we are going to do Characters and Viewpoint by Orson Scott Card. And I did a review on this, and I am gonna say that I want to put it in meh, not particularly helpful. It is so basic, and I just didn't get a lot from reading it. The Viewpoint stuff, I could see how it would be useful to someone though. Part of me, though, wants to put it into I'm a little upset I use this, just because of certain viewpoints and things that the authors promoted in the past, and so I'm gonna put it there. Wow, we're going very even right now. Let's keep it moving. All right, I'm gonna choose another one. All right, what For the Words? So For the Words is another writing app that I recently tried. Basically, it tries to motivate you to get words by defeating monsters. I'm gonna say for me, this is meh, not particularly helpful, just so we can be beautifully aligned here, but also because it was meh, not particularly helpful. For me, I'm not really motivated by fighting off monsters, and I found it a little bit confusing. I was on the free version. I do think you have to pay for it, whereas the Most Dangerous Writing app is free. So there you go. Amazing. The Anatomy of Story. The Anatomy of Story. Ooh. Do I put it as a solid resource or the holy grail of writing resources? It is a book, obviously, if you don't know. I talked about The Anatomy of Story a lot. I love it. It's by Truby. It's originally for screenwriters. It works super well for novel writers. I'm trying to talk slower. I really am. I'm gonna try to talk slower. It works super well for novel writers. It's a paperback book. It's not that expensive. It gets very into detail. I love reading it. You know what? I'm gonna put it up here. I think it's incredible. I love The Anatomy of Story. There's a lot of stuff in it that I don't use, but because it's overwhelming, there's a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff in it that I do use, and as a book, even just as like reading the book, I think it's an excellent experience. Not even with applying it, but just reading it is so fun. Okay, next we have Save the Cat, and this is meant to be the Save the Cat website. And I'm gonna put it in solid resource, which you can't say it very well, but it basically says the Save the Cat. It's like from the logo from their website. I'm sorry, you can't tell what that is. But basically, the Save the Cat thing, on their website, they have lists of beat sheets for tons and tons of movies and books, all in different genres. And you can search, you can look at them by genre, you can look at them by story type, and they break them down, and it's an incredibly solid resource. It's a free resource. It's right there on their website. And especially when I'm doing my YouTube videos about talking about different movies, I'll actually go pull those sometimes if I know the movie really well, but I want to like refresh my memory. Like when I did Elf, I was using Save the Cat beat sheet for Elf to help jog my memory here and there. Absolutely great resource, especially to better understand the Save the Cat principles and not as annoying as the book. Woohoo! All right, let's do some of these other ones. So the Story Grid by Sean Coyne. Story Grid is, as a book, this is gonna be a little controversial. I did the whole series on the Story Grid, and I put my novella through the whole process. It's like 5 videos or something, and I did the spreadsheet, the full scap, all the stuff. And I came away being like, okay, I made a cool graph. All right. Okay. Yep. So there is stuff that's helpful in there. Thinking about the value shift, thinking about the global story. I don't know if the process is the process for me particularly. I did it on a book that I was on like the 5th draft of. So I did the whole process, and I was like, so is this good or not? Like I couldn't tell it. There was no answer. Like there's no answer key of like what a good spreadsheet should look like that I could find. If anybody knows what that is, let me know. But it was an interesting exercise, and I do think there's useful things in Story Grid, especially in terms of the beginning hook, middle build, ending payoff, crisis, climax, resolution. I mean, that language is how I build my scenes, and that part of it, absolutely so helpful. So I would say this is a solid resource. Next, this image is supposed to represent the Story Grid blogs, specifically the Story Grid blogs on genre. A bunch of the Story Grid certified editors went out and they have picked apart all these different genres and written these long blog articles going in depth on them with examples, and they are innumerably helpful. I have those open all the time. You can see on my screen if I like scroll up, I have the crime one open right now for my current story. I always have it open. I always refer to it. It is a holy grail of writing resources, 100%. I love it. Yep. Yes. Applause. And then we have the Story Grid Guild. Now, the Story Grid Guild is something that I signed up for in January of this year. And it is basically like you get access to lives where you can ask questions, I think, to Sean Coyne. There's weekly exercises, there's writing groups, there's all this stuff. Like, it's a group for writers with tons of resources. You get money off books, you get books for free from the Story Grid world. Really cool. For me, I did not really have a chance to use all of it because I have at that point, I had a part-time job, a fellowship, and was finishing my master's, so I was a little busy. And I was writing a book. So even with COVID, I was a little bit busy and I didn't have time, nor did I feel the need to make time, I guess. I mean, look, you can be busy and still have time to do the Story Grid Guild, I'm sure. But I just wasn't willing to sit on my computer for more hours to read the resources, if that makes sense. And so I didn't really get the full thing out of it. So for me, it was not particularly helpful just because I felt like the time investment to get stuff out of it was huge. There were so much resources there. It was very overwhelming. I did end up downloading a bunch of them before I ended my membership, and it's also extremely expensive. It's like $90 per month or something ridiculous. It's extremely expensive, and for someone like me, I don't know if that is worth it. I think that writing my book and then hiring someone, saving that money, that $90 a month, I'd rather put that money towards paying an actual editor to look at my book or paying someone to look over my query letter or something like that versus what StoryGrid Guild offers, if that makes sense. I'm sure tons of people love it. It wasn't the resource for me at that particular time. That ends the StoryGrid stuff. Okay, what else do we have here? Here is Written Kitten. So this is a writing app where if you write a certain number of words, it gives you a picture of a cute kitten. I found that not particularly helpful. I'm not that motivated by animals. I did switch it to dogs because I don't really like kittens. Maybe I should have switched it to babies because I think I like babies. They're very cute. But yeah, it turns out I'm not that motivated by pictures, and the algorithm that they use, I don't think I was getting the cutest pictures. Some of them I looked at and I was like, that's not cute. And then it wasn't really, I had some glitches. Anyways, it wasn't that helpful for me. Sure, it's helpful for other people. All right, then we have story engineering. Story engineering was very helpful. I have a whole review on it, but specifically, I liked story engineering because it talked about three-dimensional characters, loved the framework for three-dimensional characters, and their plotting. Loved their plotting. Really well, really great. However, this is a book that it is called story engineering, which means you'd think it would be like to the point and engineering like. It is not like that. Those two things that I talked about were the most solid things in the book. Everything else was fluff, and the guy is really annoying. If you are a pantser, be prepared to be verbally messed with the entire read. All he does every chapter, I'm not even a pantser, is talk about how pantsers are dumb, which is not the case, in my opinion. There are many writers who write books without making gigantic outlines at the beginning, and they're fine. It was annoying. It was irritating, and it was also irritating because I felt like only 10 to 15, 20 maybe % of the book was actually helpful, and so much of it was just fluff. Then we have Susan Dennard. Susan Dennard's blog and newsletter. Incredibly helpful resource. She's the one where I got the term magical cookies. She has stuff about scenes. She links to a whole bunch of other writers' blogs. Her newsletter I think is really fun. Definitely recommend it. All right. This one here is meant to represent a writing bundle that I purchased at the beginning of January. And I have to tell you, I got swayed by marketing. So I was a part of a writer's newsletter, and I've been on her newsletter list for a long time and never particularly found her stuff that helpful for me, but I don't know, I was hooked. I'm not unsubscribing because sometimes I like to read it. And she was like, okay, here, there's this writing resource bundle that we've put together, and you're getting hundreds of dollars worth of stuff for only, $150 or $90 or something like that. It's true, there were a lot of resources in it. The reason I ended up getting it was because it included this really cool session where they were going to go through and talk about like Netflix shows and like analyze different Netflix shows and talk about how they were written and the concepts and do analysis and stuff like that. And so I bought it, and I'm a little upset. The problem with getting a bundle is that I did not have time to go through and vet every single author, every single writing resource that was going to be in that bundle. The reason I bought it, that like Netflix session, was I did not like it. It didn't talk about any shows that I knew, and so I couldn't understand any of the examples, and I think I ended up logging off because I was like, this is so basic, like all they're doing is talking about premises, and I'm like, excuse me, like we're halfway through, what's going on? There were some, I think I've opened some of the other resources, like workbooks, stuff like that. Didn't really find a use for any of it. Like I just haven't used it. And is that my fault? Yeah. But I do not recommend buying those writing resource bundles because the marketing on them sounds really good, but if there's like one thing in there that you want, you might just want to get that if it's a lot more expensive. Like some of them were just useless to me, and then others I've never even looked at. I've never even looked at it at all. So yeah, I'm a little upset that I did that. Next, we have Writing for Emotional Impact by Carl Iglesias. I just did a review of this, and if you saw that review, you know that I thought it was excellent. There were great techniques in there I haven't seen elsewhere. I am putting that in my solid resource. Woo, it was great. And then finally, we have Brandon Sanderson. Unfortunately, Brandon Sanderson is not my personal writing resource, but he has this thing called a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel where he's put up videos, he has put up all of his lectures from his creative writing courses at BYU, and they are all free, they're all right there, and they are amazing. It's like 12, 16 hours or something of incredible content. He even has like links to his own outlines and stuff on there. You can go to his website, there's more resources there. He walks you through it. It's incredible. Like, I love his lectures. I just listen to them over and over again, and I always learn new things and take things away, and they're those kinds of lectures that make you really, like, it's basically doing a university course for complete free. The fact that he does this is completely amazing. It is a holy grail of writing resources, and if you have not checked out his video series, absolutely do it, because he is the best. And so there we go, all of the resources that I have used in 2021. It is a bit of a mixed bag. I'm glad that the top is heavier than the bottom, but like, unfortunately the things at the bottom, specifically I'm looking at you, Mrs. Writing Resource Pack, and you, Mr. Story Grid Guild, were the most expensive things. All the things on top are free, and most of the things in the second row are also free, except for the 2 books. So like, don't spend money, tons of money on writing resources, I guess is like my New Year's resolution, or what I'm coming from here. Don't spend a ton of money on it, because you can get great free resources. And beautiful. My video next week is going to be about what writing resources I am planning to use in 2022, and I am so excited for that. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, think about doing that, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.